Thank you for tuning in to the story of Vlad the Impaler, the true story of history's most feared prince. And so the story begins.
The night Vlad Dracula was born in the winter of 1431, a storm rolled over the Transylvanian city of Sighisoara. Thunder rattled the wooden beams of the hilltop fortress, and the midwife whispered a blessing under her breath. This child was the son of a man who bore the fearsome symbol of the dragon. The baby's father, Vlad II Dracula, was a knight of the Order of the Dragon, sworn to protect Christendom from the expanding Ottoman Empire. But as the infant cried out for the first time, no one present could have imagined that this tiny life would become the most terrifying ruler the region had ever known. Shifting loyalties, political traps, and the ever-present shadow of war. Wallachia, his homeland, was a small principality wedged between powerful forces, Hungary to the west and the Ottomans to the east. Princes rose and fell quickly, often violently, and the young Vlad watched closely, absorbing everything. In 1442, the Ottoman Sultan, Murad II, demanded that Vlad's father send two of his sons, Vlad and his younger brother Radu, as hostages to ensure Wallachia's obedience. The boys were taken to Edirne, the Ottoman capital, where their lives became bargaining chips in a political game they could not yet understand. For Vlad, captivity hardened him. He spent his adolescence among enemies, surrounded by the architecture of an empire spreading like wildfire across Europe. He saw the battlefield tactics of the Janissaries, the brutal discipline of the Sultan's guards, the unflinching punishments for disobedience. And he learned quietly, watchfully. Radu, charming and sensitive, adapted easily. He earned the favor of the Sultan's son, Mehmed. Vlad, however, resisted at every turn. He developed a hatred for the Ottomans and grew to mistrust anyone who wielded power over the weak. But his fury simmered beneath an icy discipline. He would not lash out blindly. He would wait. While Vlad and Radu lived as hostages, their father struggled to maintain control of Wallachia. Rivals whispered in noble courts. Hungarian nobles plotted. Ottoman envoys threatened. In 1447, enemies murdered Vlad's father and buried his older brother Mircea alive, his body mutilated. When news reached Vlad, something inside him shattered. The world had shown him its cruelty now. He would embrace his own. In 1448, the Ottomans released Vlad, hoping to install him as a puppet ruler. Instead, he took the throne with quiet fury, determined to build a Wallachia so disciplined, so fearsome, that no invader or traitor would dare threaten it again. He ascended the throne 3 times over the course of his life, each reign marked by bloodshed, rebellion, and ceaseless conflict. The boy who had grown up surrounded by fear now wielded fear as a weapon sharper than any sword. Upon reclaiming Wallachia in 1456, Vlad began his campaign to purge the land of rivals. Boyars, the noble class who had betrayed his father, were rounded up. Some were executed, others were forced on death marches. Vlad wanted more than revenge. He wanted obedience carved into the bones of the land. His chosen method became infamous: impalement. Witness accounts describe the horror. Vlad's soldiers sharpened long stakes, oiled them, and forced them through victims' bodies, leaving them to die slowly over hours or days. Thousands were impaled. The stakes lined roads, encircled castles, and sent clear messages to enemies who approached the Wallachian borders. To Vlad, terror was not brutality, it was strategy. By 1462, Sultan Mehmed II, the conqueror of Constantinople, marched into Wallachia with one of the largest armies the region had ever seen. Vastly outnumbered, Vlad chose a different kind of war. Under cover of moonlight, he led a covert assault into the heart of the Ottoman camp. His soldiers moved silently through the tents, killing guards and setting fires. Panic exploded, horses screamed, soldiers fled. The Sultan himself narrowly escaped assassination. But the Ottomans kept coming. When Mehmed advanced deeper into Wallachia, he stopped abruptly at a sight that froze even his hardened army. 20,000 impaled corpses stretching across a valley, rotting in the summer heat. It was one of the largest mass executions in history. The Sultan whispered that a man who could do this could not be defeated by the sword. Mehmed withdrew. In 1476, Vlad was released and restored once more as ruler of Wallachia. But the throne he fought for all his life had become a fractured symbol, surrounded by enemies and betrayals. His final reign lasted only a matter of months. One winter morning, while riding with a small band of soldiers, Vlad was ambushed, either by Ottoman forces or, as some chronicles suggest, by his own men in a tragic mistake. He was cut down violently at the age of 45. His body was reportedly decapitated. His head was sent to the Sultan as proof that the Impaler was dead. His burial site remains unknown. Some villagers whispered that the devil himself claimed the body. Vlad III Dracula has been called many things: tyrant, hero, monster, patriot. To some, he was the defender of Christian Europe against Ottoman expansion. To others, he was a sadistic ruler who drenched his homeland in blood. What is certain is that he mastered the politics of terror in a time when terror was a language all rulers understood. He simply spoke it more fluently. His legend eventually inspired Bram Stoker's Count Dracula, but the fictional vampire is pale compared to the real man who walked the mountains of Wallachia. Vlad the Impaler was not a creature of fantasy. He was worse, he was real.
Thank you for tuning into the story of Vlad the Impaler. Till next time, be sure to like, share, and subscribe till the next story begins.